Hello, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal NL, a place where people can share their paranormal experiences that they've had in Newfoundland and Labrador or anywhere else in the world. Today, I have a lady on the line with me who'd like to share an experience that she had in a Newfoundland home. Okay, go ahead.
I do. I'll start from the beginning, from
Okay.
what I can remember. It was
Okay.
only 7 years ago this happened. I moved in a housing house that housing bought. It was wheelchair accessible for my daughter. And when we first moved in, we lived there for like a few weeks. Everything was good. And my child's dad at the time, my ex, he was downstairs in the basement doing whatever one day. And he came back upstairs and he had two crosses in his hand. One of them were like golden and one of them were black. And he told us that like they were hung up on like the wooden part of the ceiling, and one of them was hung upside down and one of them was hung up the right way. And my mom was there. She was actually over for supper, and we just looked at each other, and I Googled it after. Apparently you're not supposed to like take them crosses if you find them in a house. Another story too, is I was doing the dishes one night, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and it was early in the morning. Across the street there's this bus shelter, and like it was like a couple months in of us moving into the house, so I never had like no curtains, whatever, like up to the two kitchen windows. And my friend Dunphy at the time came over, and he was like, Michelle, like I was over in the bus shelter having a smoke. I had to come over and knock on your door just to see like what was behind you, because I was watching it, and there was a glowing red blob behind you. And there was nothing like behind me, like as he came over and told me about it. And as soon as I closed the door, like I was done doing the dishes. I went upstairs and went to bed. There was another time.
Did you feel anything behind you, or
what?
Did you feel anything behind you when that happened, or?
Not at all.
Didn't sense
like I
anything?
didn't even know.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But there was like another time too. We were out for the day, and I think we were at a grocery store. And yeah, because I came back, I remember putting grocery bags on the floor and taking my kid in. And as soon as I opened the door, like the door to the kitchen, you look to your right, and the door to the living room is there. Like it's just like not a door, but like an open space. And I literally just seen something like vanish, like just missed it. It was like 2 seconds or something, like vanishing. And I know I seen that. And there was another time, I will save the scariest part too, like story for last. So, but there was another time, my child's dad had his friend over just like for the night, and we were all in bed. And down in the basement we had a futon. We had like old furniture, like a table, a washer dryer, and he was sitting on the futon, and like he wanted to have a smoke to the ashtray. And like he woke up and he was just sitting there for a few minutes, and like he watched the ashtray like float off the table that was in the basement and like go back down nicely. And we woke up in the morning, he was sitting outside on the back step, and like we were like, why are you out here? And he told us like he watched the ashtray like in the basement like move.
That's kind of scary. The ashtray moved. Wow.
Yeah, like right off like the tail, like it never moved quick, like it just floated and then it went back down nicely. That's what he said.
That would definitely spook me out.
Oh, it was creepy. And another time too, he had his other friend over, and he was also sleeping on a couch. And this was like 2 years into the house. We woke up and came downstairs, and like he was already awake, and we asked him like you're up early, and he was like, yeah, well, I was hearing footsteps through the house all night, and so I guess he couldn't go back to sleep. And I'm gonna think of like, oh, there was one time too, like my heater, we had oil heat in the house, we never had electricity, and like one day my heat just stopped working, and like there was like a lot of oil left. It shouldn't stop working. The whole house, like the heat stopped working. So that night I went upstairs to cuddle my daughter, and so we can like stay warm. But then like we woke up that morning also, and the door to the backyard was opened, and I lock it. Like I don't forget to lock my doors like ever. I'll double check my doors to make sure they're locked. But that was opened. And one time I was also cooking supper, and my daughter was out into the living room playing with her toys, watching TV. She was like 4 at the time, and she told me that there was somebody out in the back step, and she thought it was Daddy's friend. So like I looked through, because like in the living room you look straight down the hallway, and there's the back door, and like I went to the back door, and like we had curtains there, but you couldn't see through. So like I don't know why she said that. I opened up the back door and checked, and nobody was there. And literally like 2 weeks after this, she also told me a story. Like we spent our whole day. It was like the evening time, and I picked her up, and I was about to give her a bath. And she was like, "Mommy, we're getting a visitor tonight, and he has no blood." And she specifically said that he has no blood. We're getting a visitor, and like I never even gave her a bath. Like I literally like went upstairs with my kid, and we fell asleep with like. And there's like, I'm almost done too. By the way, there's 2 or 3 more stories. I'm literally saving the best one for last.
Okay.
We were out, like it was the summertime, I remember, and we spent the day up in Buckmaster Circle to my aunt's, because like we had all of our friends there, and so we spent the day up there hanging out with our friends. I took her back home to like wash her up and settle down like for the night. And when I took her back home, she what story was I getting into? Hold on now.
You were talking about your child, how she said you were going to have a visitor, and that visitor didn't have any blood. And then you were talking about washing your child.
Yeah, that was like that story. And now I remember what I was going to say. When I took her back home, I turned the TV on for a bit, and I put her on the couch, and I went to like do the dishes before I gave her a wash. And like she started freaking out, like screeching, crying, and I went out like because she was like madly crying, and I asked her what was wrong, and she kept on looking over to like the shoe closet, and now that shoe closet has no door. It was just like an opening in the wall, and like you could see that shoe closet like in the hallway going next to the bathroom, which is by the back door. And she was like, there's somebody in there, and like I picked her up. She was only like little at the time, like 3 years old. I picked her up, and she put her like head right into my shoulder and screeched. I was freaked out too. Like I was really scared. I ended up calling my mom, and my mom told me to pick her up and bring her to that shoe closet and ask her what she's seen. And like I picked her up and I went upstairs. I never did bring her to the shoe closet, and like I called her dad at the time, and he had to come home and like investigate it type thing.
Right.
And the last story, like I'll say that because it's the creepiest of that house. My daughter's in a wheelchair, so she can't like move her legs. Even now, like when she's in bed, like I'll wake up a few times during the night to roll her over because she needs help so she can get comfy. And I was with her dad also, and upstairs, like the house is a wheelchair house, so downstairs, like when you come to the front door, it's like the main floor, the living room, the kitchen, which was small, and there's a room with a bathtub that's off the living room. That was supposed to be her room, but like I didn't put her in that room because like I did not want to be upstairs while she was downstairs. Then at the bottom is the basement, and upstairs there's like 2 small rooms with like a 4-foot small hallway in between. So that night she woke up like screaming, and like that was literally the only night she ever woke up screaming like that, crying from like a I'm not going to say it was a bad dream. It was like too real to be a bad dream. But that was like, she's almost 12 now, and it's still the only night she woke up screaming like that. But when she woke up screaming, me and her dad ran out into her room at the same time. Like we bolted up and ran out into her room. And the blankets were literally rolled up her legs. And now she's in a wheelchair. She can't move her legs. She can't even get up to roll the blankets up over her legs herself now.
Now that is definitely strange.
Yeah, it was creepy. I'm getting goosebumps telling out a story. And she was saying that there was this man in her room, and he had like a tuxedo shirt on and no pants, but he was all static and blue. And you could see the outline of him really good, but like he had no face. And he was like tickling her feet, but she woke up before then, and he was still tickling her feet, and she was trying to call out to me and her dad, and he would like lunge at her and like wave his hands and arms as if saying like no. He didn't speak to her. But then when she finally got like the chance, I guess, to cry, like she cried, and then we ran into her room, and her feet like were sticking out of her blankets, and the blankets were rolled up her legs, and she told me that he was tickling her feet.
That is
and, like,
very spooky.
What?
That is very spooky. And you said she's almost 12 now?
Yeah, and she will tell you the exact same story, like, from first to start, like, without even changing it.
Wow.
Which is, yeah, it's scary.
So tell me a little bit about the history of the house. Do you know much about it?
I know there was an old man there that died, and he fell over the stairs and hit his head on the side of the wall and died. And there was also a younger little boy, and I think it was like 6 or 7, and he also died because the story it was like a snowstorm one day, and his mom was pushing him, like trying to push him up over the ramp, and I guess like he was just after going home. There was snow everywhere, like it wasn't shoveled that good, and she accidentally pushed him too hard, and he flew over the ramp steps and like cracked his head open on the ground and died instantly. And the story about the old man, like he the way those stairs were in the house, it was like straight downstairs, but like there was a swivel at the end, and you would have to turn to get to the hallway. Before, like on a swivel, the wall was there, and the stairs were like rubber. They had some sort of rubber material, and I think it was like where it was an accessible house. I don't know. It had like supposed to be for hold grip to the stairs when you went on them, but like it wasn't very good because like there were so many times I'm after tripping up in those stairs because it would stick to my socks, and I had my daughter in my arms. So I can see like how if that story of the old man was true, like I can see how he literally died like going over the stairs.
Yeah, they are kind of spooky stories there. The house does have quite a history by the sounds of it. How old is the house?
I don't even know. I know that housing bought that house. Like, it's only on Anderson Avenue. It's not attached to any other house. And, like, when I moved in there, too, and the pipes bursted downstairs into the basement. So my mom had to go in and call housing for them to, like, soak up all the water. So we never got to move in there until, like, 2 months after, until it was clean. But my brother went with her. And, my mom went to go down in the basement to see if that like there was anything that she can do, like any pipe that like she can like wrap up until housing came. And my brother was like literally, I think it was 5 or 6 at the time, and he screeched. He didn't know. Like mom was like, "Why are you like freaking out? It's only a basement." And like he didn't know what to tell her. He was just screaming and crying. He did not want to go in that basement. She did anyway, and he continued to cry. But like till this day, he remembers doing it, but he don't know why he was crying and did not want her to go down there.
It's interesting because they do say that children are more adept at sensing things than adults.
Yeah, and there was actually I ordered pizza one night, and the pizza delivery guy actually knew a bit about the house. I don't know if it's true or not, but I remember like in the basement, there's like something carved into like, it was like a concrete floor, and there was like WWII or WWII carved into the concrete floor next to my washer and dryer. And the pizza delivery guy said that he remembers like his house, his grandfather or something, it was being built, and he said it was like, it used to hold like I guess people that went to the war, just like the houses up in Buckmaster Circle in. But, yeah, the house was old anyway. But, and, the mom actually, what?
Sorry, about that carving in the floor, what is it about World War I or II that piece in the house was from World War I or II?
Yeah, I remember seeing WWI or WWII, and I used to think had something to do with wrestling. Like, honest to God, like somebody was moving in there. They had like this, they used to watch wrestling a lot. So somebody, like a company, came to do the floors in the basement, and like they weren't finished being done. And while the floors were like drying, concrete was drying, they must have carved something in about wrestling. But when the pizza delivery dude came to the door, like, deliver my pizza, he was like, yeah, like, my grandfather, like, watched his house being built, and he said that it was because I don't know, apparently they knew somewhat about the house because he used to know the woman that used to live there before me, and yeah, apparently housing bought the house to become I guess a housing unit, but before housing even took over, it bought the house. The house was like just like a regular house, like I guess you can go in, pay rent, whatever, but it was the people, I guess, like, you know, like how the people up in the circle, like those houses, the people from the war used to like live in the houses so they can go to war like a long time ago. The house was also like
okay, yeah, that makes more
yeah.
sense now. So it was housing for maybe the wives of the men who went to war.
What?
So maybe it was the housing of the folks who went to war.
Yeah, I think so. When that war happened here, like a long time ago,
Okay.
like 1912 or 19. I forget. I don't want to say the actual year because like it might sound stupid over the podcast.
No, that's okay. We don't have to get into the historical aspect of it, but there is definitely a lot of military history here in St. John's. It's a very old city, and it's one of the oldest cities in North America. I wanted to ask you a question about those upside down crosses. Now, did you say that they went to a home and took it off the wall and took it with them into that house you're in now, or they were in the house?
Oh no, they were never, but they were flicked out like right away. My baby's dad, when he found the crosses up on the beams into the wooden beams into the basement, like nobody, I guess, like nobody realized they were there because we were like living there not so long. And he actually brought them upstairs in front of me and my mom, and we both looked at each other. And he told me they were downstairs in the basement, and the black one or something was upside down, and the gold one was hung right side up next to it. And
okay, and
I
that's
ended up
and this
Googling
is
it after. What?
And this is in the house that you're referring to right now, correct?
Yeah, on Anderson Avenue.
Okay, interesting stuff. Yeah.
But I did Google it after, and apparently when you find stuff like that, you're not supposed to take it down. You just leave it there.
Right, yeah. You're usually not supposed to touch things like that because you never know what people have done with it or in the past. They may have, right? Did you have anything else that you wanted to share about the house?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because my friend Lindsay and her daughter, her family moved into the house after us. Her daughter's in a wheelchair too, so she needed an accessible house. And the same doctors that are in a gym with that helped me get that house, she is with, and they helped her move into that house because when she found out that I was moving out, she was like, oh my God, like I'm going to see if I can get those doctors to help me move into that house. And they did. And when Lindsay messaged, we were living here, and Lindsay was messaging me through Facebook Messenger. So it was like, she was like, hi, is there anything wrong with the house? We got the house that you just moved out of. And like in my mind, I was thinking like, oh my God, like what sin? Like I hope she like just don't move in there, but she did. And she was messaging me asking like if there was anything wrong with the house she needed to, I guess like know about so she can fix it. Like I guess the pipes, like just, I don't know, shower, kitchen sinks, whatever, like something like that. And then I did not tell her at all like what we experienced because like I didn't want to scare her. But like fast forward to literally like 2 years ago, she moved out of the house. She bought her own house not too far away from the house, and she was messaging me on Facebook, and I was congratulating her. And she was telling me how she bought her own house, whatever, and she hoped that the ghost that was in the house on Anderson Avenue did not follow them to the new house. And I was like, man, Lindsay, I know about the ghost that was in the house. I didn't want to tell you to scare you, but like we have a lot of stories. And Lindsay's like, man, Michelle, I do too. So we were supposed to go out and grab coffee or whatever and talk about it. We still haven't yet because like it's life. And we're just busy. Well, I am actually interested in like hearing what also like she experienced in the house too.
Yeah, I'd be very interested. I'm sure our listeners would be interested in hearing what the other owner has experienced. Do you think maybe you could give her our contact information and she could come on the podcast and kind of explain her experiences as well? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually. I'd definitely give her, like, your guys' contact information.
Yeah, so to our listeners, if you want to create your own podcast with Paranormal NL and share your experiences, reach out to us on Paranormal NL on Facebook, and you can message us through there, and we can set up a time when we can talk about your experiences. Well, thank you for sharing your experiences with us today. I'm sure our listeners will be very excited to hear about all of your experiences, and again, thank you so much for sharing all of your stories.
Yeah, thanks for having me, actually. Like, I like telling them.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.